All right, welcome to another episode of NFL Outdated, and this is the entertainment series. I am joined by comedic actor and writer of the new movie Home Team, Chris Titone. How's it going?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me. Are we live?
We are live.
Oh,
Yes,
that's fun.
absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yes.
A lot of guys they say, we're live, and then afterwards they're like, all right, it's gonna air in 2 hours.
Oh no, yeah, it'll be on YouTube, all that fun stuff. And speaking of that, actually, I've always wondered, and maybe this is a good kind of warm up question. You've done a lot of premieres over the years, right?
Sure.
Now, I've always wondered, do they have popcorn for you at premieres?
Yeah, premieres are super fun because popcorn's expensive. So they have popcorn, uh, drinks, any soda you want, and then the candy's free. You just say, give me one of those.
Nice. Well, yeah,
I mean,
I used to.
it's not free. Whoever the like production company is, they're picking up the tab, but it's free for all the guests.
I can imagine. Yeah, I used to work at movie theaters, in high school and everything, and it was definitely, a cost to somebody. Even though in between movies, we would sneak some soda or popcorn here and there.
I
So,
mean, you have to. I used to work at
oh,
Blockbuster. Same thing, man.
hey, we're Blockbuster buddies. I think I worked at 3 or 4 growing up. So,
No way. Wait,
yeah.
if you worked at 3 or 4, did you get like fired? Like, what happened?
No, I was that versatile where, in a town of Cedar Rapids, Iowa, they needed me at another store. They said, "Go," and I'm like, "Yep, I'll do it." So there you go.
Cedar Rapids. Now, that's a theme park, isn't it?
Well, there is a movie called Cedar Rapids, and it could be. Well, Cedar Point is probably what you're thinking of.
That's what I'm thinking. Cedar Point, which
Yes,
is in
yes.
Ohio.
Cedar Point is in Ohio. Yes,
Yeah,
and Cedar Rapids is in Iowa. It's actually where Ashton Kutcher is from.
he's a nice dude. Yeah, I've never been to Cedar Point, but I love roller coasters, so we gotta go. I gotta go.
Well, actually, it's funny you bring that up. I am planning on taking my kids this summer, and we're going to the Pro Football Hall of Fame too. So we're
Oh,
excited.
Canton.
Canton, Ohio, love it.
Canton,
Yes.
baby.
Well, I'm definitely excited to talk to you. I mean, there's so much buzz about this movie, and it's a fantastic movie. Great kids movie. So with this movie, it started out you know a little ways back. So first of all, talk me through the writing process in just how long kind of that took to get from the page then to the screen.
Yeah. So for hours, it was pretty normal writing wise. It was about 8 9 months, and essentially me and my writing partner Keith Blum, we write a a foundation, and then from there we wanted to write just a regular good movie, kind of with no football and with no jokes. Then of course we had the football, then we had the jokes, which is the fun part because uh, we're both pretty funny, and we try to one up each other. Steel sharpens steel. So I would come up with something funny, he'd come up with something funnier. It would piss me off. I'd try to go funnier. And for every joke, and then we sent it to Adam, and he was like, "Yeah, this is good, but change this." He's the master, so he gave us like call it 5 little notes and 5 big notes. So that we did it. Usually stuff like that takes like a month. I think we did it in a weekend because we were so excited that he was even into it. Because when you get notes from Adam, it's like, oh, he took the time to do notes. Okay, let's, 2 days later we hit him, and then he was like, hey, listen, I'm just gonna send it to Kevin James. You wrote it for him. Let's see what he thinks. And 3 days later, we got the call saying he's in and Netflix is in. It was a great phone call. And then, yeah, I think maybe 2 or 3 months later, we were shooting. That was the quick part. Usually, once the script is done and approved, you're looking at 6 7 months. This was fast, man.
Was it fast because, they needed movies, after the pandemic, or how that kind of worked, or was that
Why?
the
I have no idea.
yeah.
Maybe they wanted to do summertime because, dude, I have no idea. I'm very thankful that it did because a lot of times in that 5 or 6 months where they're going from script to shooting, something goes wrong. There's a red flag. This happens, that happens, and all of a sudden you're not shooting a movie.
And so, when you were writing the movie, so you did write it for Kevin James then, or did you have someone else in mind as well?
No, we never had anyone else in mind. It was always Kevin James. To be honest, we wrote it for Kevin James thinking when he says no, who's like a Kevin James type that we could throw in there? That's all we really thought about.
It's interesting you kind of say that, but there's the other actor that played uh, the kind of comedic coach. I've seen him in other movies, and I've kind of
Gary Valentine. That's
yeah,
that's KJ's brother.
it is.
That's Kevin James's brother in real life. Yeah.
Okay, I've wondered. Yeah, obviously that makes sense then.
Yeah.
And so like had you worked with Keith Bloom before then?
Yeah. This was actually the third script we've written together. And this is, I mean, this dude's not only have I worked with him writing, but we met as waiters at a restaurant, at a Mexican restaurant in LA. And yeah, I mean, this has been my best friend for 20 years.
That's awesome. And when you think of, being able to do this, with someone, that you've gone through the hard times with, I mean, what does that mean to kind of go through this process and to where you're at now?
Just like any, we're so past for like friends. Like he's like my brother. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
we're way past like, oh, that's my friend Keith. Yeah, I mean, it's a different aspect to our relationship because usually it's just like, hey, come over, let's make chicken and just watch a movie and talk or hang out. And now it's like when he comes over, it's like, I mean, he's gonna be here at like 4 for like a 6 hour writing session. So now when we hang out, it's kind of like, should we write? Should we not? So we try to plan before, like, hey, do you just want to come over and hang? Or hey, do you want to come over and write?
And I mean, are you pretty intentional with that? I mean, do you just sometimes need kind of breaks throughout the process? I mean, that's got to be just a tough thing when you kind of know you want to do something or need to do something.
Yeah, I mean, we try to instead of breaks during writing, we try to do it by hangout, where it's like, hey, this hangout's solely for writing, and this hangout is solely for hanging.
And through your process from the very beginning as well, like did you have some actors that were mentors, and some that you kind of maybe pattern your writing and maybe even in your acting after?
Sandler, I mean,
Mhm.
Sandler, I look up to in a writing aspect, in an acting aspect, in a production aspect, in an editing aspect, music, wardrobe. I mean, the guy's the best. There's no denying it. Like people talk about, is it Kobe or LeBron, and then Michael, of course, and Adam. That's it. I mean, there literally is no comparison. There's never been a comedian fully engulfed in every aspect of a movie for 40 years. You know,
Or even all the characters he did on SNL. I mean, I grew up with watching those. I mean, what makes him so good is just kind of like how intentional he is with like every word, every kind of thing that he puts together.
what makes him so good is I think it's two things. I think it's just raw talent. That's really
Mhm.
what he was born to do. And then just the hustle. I mean, the ambition he has still after 40 years is bananas. He no joke, he's putting in 18 hours a day every day. There's no days off. He's hitting it hard. I don't care if we're hanging out, eating a sandwich, he's on his phone producing. He's just his work ethic is insane.
And when you kind of look at his work ethic and kind of what you're doing, as far as kind of learning from him, I mean, what most have you learned from him in the whole process from start to finish?
Man, I've learned so much. I think one of the one of the most beneficial things I've learned is that when you're on set and you're shooting, I didn't know this, but when you get a joke that's in the script, when you shoot it, you need to get 4 more versions of that joke. You need to get 4 more jokes in that same slot instead of like, you know, uh, uh, I can give you examples, but what I'm saying is when you're in editing, you want choices. So that was the biggest thing I learned from him was man, once we get to editing, it's over. There's no going back and shooting. So get your options.
Well, yeah, and so you've done stand up in the past, and obviously kind of you're more in control of that. Uh, kind of with that stand up? I mean, is that kind of less control, from a performer standpoint when it comes to movies and TV and everything?
Yeah, I mean, there's positives and negatives too. When you're doing stand up, you don't have more control. You have 100% control. There is literally every decision is made up to you. Every hand movement, every word you're going to say, what you wear, where you stand, how long
Mm.
you're going to go. It is 100% up to you. And when you're doing a movie, it's a team effort, and there's a lot of positives to that because I don't know wardrobe as good as the wardrobe lady. I don't know. I don't know direction as good as the Canane brothers. I don't know. I don't know acting better than KJ. So there's a lot of positives that come along with that.
And throughout the process, then you did the writing, and how much, and obviously you were in the movie as well. How much did you have like with the auditioning? How much like input did you have with some of the other characters?
Sure, I was in there, and essentially it would be they have to get past the casting directors. Once they get past the casting directors, let's say for one role, we'll audition, call it 50 people. Okay, they break it down to their favorite 15. They send us the 15 over email. Everyone kind of emails back. It's like me, KJ, the directors, their thoughts. From the emails, they break it down to 5. Then we all have a Zoom meeting and we talk about which one do we want to send to Adam and Netflix for approval. So
Mm.
then we pick one. We pick Steve, and Steve, we say, all right, let's run it by Adam and let's run it by Netflix. And if we get a green light from both of them, they're in.
And speaking of that, I did see in an interview as well that you had to get some, obviously approval from the NFL. I mean, what part did they have in maybe even casting? Would they any part of that or?
No, NFL wasn't involved in casting. NFL was more involved in just giving us their blessing. They're as much as everyone feels like the NFL is a public company, it's not. It's a private company. It's a business. A lot of people have tried to duplicate it, XFL and this, and failed.
Mhm.
And it is a business, and they don't want anyone talking bad or about their business. And thankfully they signed off on our movie. I think we portrayed the NFL in a pretty good light.
Absolutely. And you had a chance, obviously, before doing the movie, meeting Sean Payton. Was it intimidating, number one, when you first met him? And then, throughout this process, and then even kind of working with him with this.
Well, I've been dating his daughter for 6.5 years,
Yeah.
so I've known him a long time. And when I met him, I didn't know who he was.
Oh, that's awesome.
I wasn't a big sports. I mean,
Yeah.
saying I wasn't a big sports fan is actually an understatement. I wasn't a sports fan. I just wasn't. And we were shooting The Ridiculous Six in Santa Fe, and Sean walked in with his daughter. Everyone flips out. Oh my God, Sean Payton's here. And I was just, who's the girl? So when I met him, I think I found out the next day, like, that he was the coach of the Saints. So I wasn't really intimidated. You know what? I was intimidated when we started dating, and it was like our first couple dinners, because this guy lives and breathes football, and I didn't
Mhm.
know a thing about it. I started Googling like football, like I started doing that, so I didn't look like an idiot.
Was he good with you then? Kind of the conversations and just kind of understanding that.
Yeah, he's good. I mean, there's never a bad dinner with Sean. He's just a nice guy. He likes to tell amazing stories. All of his stories are awesome because he is who he is. And no, he knows there's people out there that don't know football. I didn't at the time, and he knows there's other industries.
And when you were writing this, for Sean, I mean, was there kind of hesitation? I mean, I did, read that he was good with the story and everything, but at first he comes off as kind of like the absent dad, things like that. I mean, was that a little hesitation when you're writing it? Is this going to come off well to him or?
Not really, because he knows that's not true, and it's not. So
Yeah.
he knew I had to make some type of dramatic thing happen in the movie, and we went with that. I mean, essentially, the real life story is that he was a hardworking dad. He's the head coach of an NFL team, so
Hmm.
he didn't spend as much time with Connor as he would have liked to. But he was, I mean, he was coming to every game, and he would fly home to see see him all the time, and there was a lot of communication, but we just exaggerated that a lot just for a dramatic aspect. I mean, if you know the real story, it wouldn't be as interesting.
When you talk about, some of your most interesting, acting scene partners or just scenes in the past, what would you say has been kind of the something that stands out to you?
Acting in a scene with a partner,
Yeah.
man. It was what was a fun scene to act with a partner? Oh, Lapkus. Lapkus in The Wrong Missy. It was so hard to keep a straight face because she was so knee deep in that character where she was just bananas at all times. And I have this one little scene with her where I ask her who's going to win the Super Bowl, and she says, "Don't worry about it, one leg." And I say, "One leg?" And she goes, "Yeah, you're going to die in a car accident, or you're going to get your leg ripped off in a plane crash or something." And she's so solid, and she was riffing on that, and man, every take was like hard to keep a straight face.
Yeah, so yeah, that whole riffing aspect. I mean, were you able to do that? I mean, I was just watching the scene of when you're talking to Kevin about your boy. I mean, were you able to kind of riff on that line, those scenes? Obviously you wrote it. How did that go?
Yeah, I mean, we riffed on every joke, and I think the Cananes were, their big thing is time. Like, we got to move on, homie. Like, so they're timekeepers, so that's a big part of their job, and they gave me the blessing to, when I was saying my lines, to just riff and whatnot. Usually actors don't get that, but I wrote it, so they gave it to me.
And when you talk about kind of acting, is there something that maybe is on your bucket list? I mean, now obviously writing this is I'm sure been an incredible experience, but is there something that's on your bucket list kind of going forward?
Man, on my bucket list, I've never had. Yeah, I have. I don't know. I mean, I've killed someone on scene. I've been murdered on scene. I think those are the two main ones.
Was that in
Um,
Ridiculous Six? I'm gonna have to go back and watch that now.
no, that's those are things you haven't seen. the, when I got killed, it was in a movie called The Shortcut, and
Mm,
I did a. Is that a cat?
it is. It is. He's kind of mouthy. Yes.
Nice. And then I used to do a web series called Mobsters, and
Mm.
I got to kill Brian Austin Green. You know who that is?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I
I
got
grew
to
up with
kill
him.
Brian Austin Green in it. I mean, so killing and being killed, those are done. I've had a scene with an Oscar winner in man, what is it called? Father of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the guy Nat Faxon, he has an Oscar for
Yeah.
writing The Descendants, and
Oh, great movie. Yeah.
I rubbed my bare ass on his face. This poor guy has an Oscar in his living room, and he's got Chris Titone's bare sweat. I mean, it was hot. It was hot, man. Bare sweaty ass on his actual cheek, my actual ass. Like that
Well, I
guy's
mean that
that guy's
that could be one of the highlights of his career too. You never know.
I highly doubt it. I have a picture of it in my gym. I have a still from the movie of just this guy's face like this, and the ass. Oh my
Well,
god.
on that note, if there was a movie made about your life, I'm sure there will be one time. Who would play you in your life story?
Maxwell Simkins.
Ah, yes, yes.
That kid is good. That kid is good. If anyone's gonna play me, I want Max doing it.
What
Max is
makes him
so
so
good,
good?
man. He was a kid that I would give alternate lines to, and I would say, try this, and he would instantly in his head do little rewrites that made them better
Mhm.
and say them. Also, his delivery is just, I mean, there's no getting better. It's a 10. The kid's delivery, do you remember that scene where they're knocking on what they think is Brooke's door,
Mhm.
and the bartender comes out and says, "Do you know what time it is?" And the kid, all he has to say is like 7:30. And there's so many ways to say that line. Like 7:30, or like 7:30, but he delivers it so perfect. He's like 7:30, and it's so just money right on the line, pinpoint, perfect delivery. And you can't. I mean, I don't know if you can learn that. You just got to have it.
Well, yeah, in your process, I mean, have you taken a lot of acting lessons? I mean, has it just kind of been something you kind of picked up along the way, or how has that gone for you?
No, I've never really done lessons. I was an actor when I was a kid, and then I was more a model. You remember Burdines? I did a lot of Burdines catalogs.
Ah,
You
J.C.
remember
Penney for
Burdines?
me.
Is that still a thing?
I, I'm Midwest, so I was J.C. Penney. So
Okay, okay. Burdines is the same thing, but and then yeah, and then you know what taught me a lot was stand up. Stand up was just getting comfortable in front of a camera is really easy once you're comfortable in front of live people. Live people's the hardest.
well, speaking of that, obviously, you don't do as much stand up anymore, correct?
No, I haven't done it in maybe 10 years, man.
But you do go watch stand up, I take it. And
Of
um,
course.
what do you enjoy the most when you're watching someone else do stand up?
Um, what do I enjoy the most? So, comics before they go on the road, they'll do LA, smaller venues to like work out jokes is what they call it,
Mhm.
to get ready for the road. So they'll see what works and what doesn't work. And I'm a comedian, so I can usually tell like, oh, that's new, or oh, that's he's been doing that. And one of my favorite moments in any, you rarely see it, but when a comic says what's clearly a new joke, and they're like feeling it out, and it crushes, and they're like, "Hey!" And it's that small moment of like, "Oh my god, that's working! All right, let's stay in it." I like that moment.
Doesn't Seinfeld have that book? What does he tell? Is this anything?
Oh yes, 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 exactly. Is this anything? Yeah, that's
It,
totally it, man. Guys are in the green room, and they're like, "Hey, I've got a joke about a trash can, and if I hid in it, my mom wouldn't find me, but she would make me breakfast. Is that anything?"
I love it, love it. In You talked about in one of your interviews about just a kind of a no pressure environment with comedy with like Adam as well, kind of going back and forth. Do you see kind of as a writer and that you kind of would like that kind of environment with others as well that you might encourage?
Yeah, I mean, I've been on a lot of sets. I've done a lot of TV, a lot of movies, and Adam's sets are just different in a way where there's no pressure. Try it out. Let's get it, because maybe in editing it works. It ties right back into, we're not wasting film. Everything's digital now.
Hmm.
Take the 10 seconds, get the joke in, because maybe in editing we use it. And it happens all the time, by the way, where people are like, I have a little idea. And he's like, get it, get it, get it, get it. And we get it. And it ends up being in the movie over 10 other jokes.
So this is a two-part question. Then, what is your kind of favorite Adam Sandler kind of character, and then maybe what is one that like he enjoys kind of most?
I don't know what he enjoys most. You'd have to ask him. But man, I have so many favorites. I think the best to do around him is the Zohan.
No.
Like he'll hey, let's go get some food. I'll be like, disco, disco. It's just that's fun to do. But I think my favorite characters are when he does the Happy Gilmore, just regular dude. I mean, that kind of is him, where he's just quick and funny and witty and a laid back guy.
So I see in behind you, obviously you've got footballs and football helmet and nice statue there.
That's an
Uh,
Emmy.
and
Oh, it's over here.
yeah,
So my girlfriend does sports reporting. Okay. So she has this beautiful setup with lighting and the footballs and the Emmy all set to go. She goes live like 2 times a day. That is not my Emmy. That is her Emmy.
that's
And
okay. You can own it.
no, but no, no, no. It's her. An Emmy's a big deal. She owns it.
Oh, absolutely.
And but no, I just figured I would use it because it's all set up. And those are her footballs and her football helmet. And yeah, I was like, oh, there's a setup already. Let's just use that one.
Absolutely. And that, I guess that would be my question,
I had to
um,
remove this though. Look, she uses this.
yeah, see, I have mine too. I gotta,
Oh
um,
yeah, you have one.
so, I mean, did you kind of picture yourself, before, meeting Megan, before this process that you would become a football guy?
No, God no. I was never into sports. I remember I've been to, you know what Magic Mountain is? It's like
Oh
a
yeah.
Six Flags.
Hmm.
I used to go on Super Bowl Sunday because it was so empty.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah. I mean, I was just never into sports. I met Megan and I wanted to learn about it because I wanted to learn about her, and
Oh,
she's a football girl. By the way, football girl's the best. Get yourself a football girl, bud. They're great. And yeah, I learned more and more about it, and then I fell in love with it. It's pretty easy to fall in love with.
so here is the true test. How far you're into football? Are you into fantasy football?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, okay. So
I
okay,
guess what? 4 years ago, I won my fantasy football, and the refrigerator in my garage has a big football magnet because I won that refrigerator.
that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, when you talk, I mean, I'm probably in about 10 leagues, and for me, football is just something I enjoy, but it is, for me, it's something good that you can learn about other things as well. And I've always loved movies. Once again, like when I went to Iowa, so this is my home team, and late '90s, I did take a screenwriting class,
Hmm.
and it was the whole thing of 1 page equals a minute on screen. Is it still that way, or obviously
Yeah,
I'm guessing
roughly.
it's okay.
Yeah, roughly about a minute a page. And when I'm writing a script, we shoot for 108. And yeah, that's yeah, pretty solid. A minute a page. Now, action takes less time than dialogue. So if you have a full page of action, it's like 45, 50 seconds. Excuse me. And if you have a full page of dialogue, you're looking at a buck 05.
So what advice would you give to maybe someone who is just kind of starting out in the writing field, and whether it's comedy or anything, just what advice would you give someone kind of starting out in that?
I would say pick your favorite genre, whatever let's say it's comedy, okay? Then pick your three favorite comedies
Mm.
and read the scripts. Try to realize like how they got from this to that, and you'll kind of see the blueprint.
See, yeah, I love that. And I had it when I interviewed Anthony. He talked about that from going from A to B, and then just kind of his process. And you know, uh, as far as the writing process and the acting process, is that kind of a similar kind of thing, like in your head that you do as well?
Wait, what do you mean for acting?
Yeah, like going from like knowing that you have, okay, this is where I'm at and this is where I want to go, whether it's, the whole story with kind of the base, or it's even kind of when you're given a character and this character goes from A to B.
Yeah, I mean, acting's so different than writing. Acting, I more just dive into my character, do a little character research. If there's an accent, that always helps because then you can kind of turn the character on with the accent. Because acting's a lot of sit in your trailer and wait. So it's hard to you sit there for 4 hours and then you're up, no, 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 and you're like, oh my god. So if you have an accent, it helps. But no, acting is it's at least at my level, it's a lot easier than writing. At my level, it's here are your lines, stand right there, wear this, and say this. I mean, it's so it's pretty easy. Writing's hard. Writing's the hardest part of writing is the is finding the ambition to keep going after someone's told you no. Like
Mm.
Home Team was my third script. So after the first one, it was hard to, all right, we're going to start a second one. And after the second one didn't go, it was really hard to say, all right, we're going to start a third one. It's just how it goes sometimes. But those are the hardest parts of writing.
Do you think the other two scripts might eventually go somewhere? Or
The first one, no. Maybe the second. We'll see. We'll shop it around.
hey, different iterations of the light bulb, right?
Yeah, yeah. We'll shop around the second one, and we're writing a fourth right now.
And how does that kind of, the shopping that around? I mean, obviously, I'm guessing it's kind of who and kind of maybe floating things around. How does that process go?
I have no idea. I just, my agent said to me, send me that second one again. And I sent it to her, and she's like, all right, I'm going to shop this around. Like that was an email. So I have no idea what she's doing. Agents and managers, man, they're magical, and they got secret potions. I have no idea what they do.
In your process as well. I mean, do you ever kind of get like high and low with these things, or you just kind of have to just kind of like take it as it goes? Obviously, you said it's tough when you hear no. I mean, um, how does that go?
Um, it's each script is like climbing a mountain, and you sometimes you get to the top of the mountain, you're like, oh man, we went the wrong way. This is the bottom. And that happened twice to me. And then the third one, we got to the top, and it was like, oh my God, not only are we at the top, but there's like a couch up here and snacks. So, so that was cool. So listen, we're starting to climb the mountain again, and hopefully there's a couch and snacks up there. But if there isn't, that's okay, because I know it's possible for there to be a couch and snacks. What a weird analogy.
Hey, well, anytime I think of the climbing a mountain, I think of the Price is Right, the yodeling guy. So, and I'm sure you've fallen off that before without snacks.
I think anytime I think of anything, I think about when's the couch and snacks happening in this scenario.
Well, and with that, what are your go-to snacks?
Oh man, I'm really into deviled eggs. I like deviled
Wow,
eggs.
it's a snack.
That's a snack for sure. What else? What else? Oh, chocolate covered pretzels. I
Oh yeah.
really like. And overall, what I really want more than anything is a good old fashioned Coca-Cola, baby. That's all I want. Is a good old fashioned Coke. There is no better liquid on the planet. I am addicted to that stuff, to the point where I had to hold myself back and like, all right, Sunday is Coca-Cola day. We're gonna take it easy. We're gonna do water 6 days a week. Sunday can be Coca-Cola day.
Well, and I'm glad you said that, because we are not sponsored by Coke here. So, but I've already had 3 Coke Zeros today. So
Hey, one day, one day.
one day, I like it because there's no calories, and it gets me going. So
Does it taste the same?
no, but I've gotten used to it.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
I mean,
I
it's
like
like
good
anything.
old fashioned Coca-Cola, baby. Mm.
But Diet Coke, no. Coke Zero, I'm good with that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I like the good. I need that old school.
Well, I definitely appreciate your time. As far as kind of your next projects, I mean, are you able to kind of say what you might be working on, or how does
Yeah, no, yeah, of course. We're writing a script called "What's Up, Guys." It's about social media influencers. So
Mm,
it's actually "What's up, guys," because that's how they start all their YouTube videos with. And yeah, it's that whole industry, and the funny things in it, the serious things in it, and we're gonna try to make a good old fashioned Happy Madison comedy again.
when could we kind of expect that coming out?
Oh man, well, there's a lot of hurdles before that happens. We got to finish writing it. That's 2 months. We have to get someone to give us money to make it. That's a
Helpful.
big one.
Yeah.
That's a big one. Then we have to shoot it. Then we have to edit it. I mean, if it did happen, we're looking at a year and a half.
And with the success of Home Team, does that kind of, obviously you get a chance to just, I don't know, breathe a little bit, or just kind of make you kind of more excited for the process then?
I mean, it's making us more ambitious. It's making us, dig down. Like, oh my God, it's possible. You know what I mean? It's almost like, if you're finally the girl of your dreams says yes to a date, you're like, what? I'm not dropping the ball on this. Okay, it's possible. And
Just
yeah,
don't be like Tommy Boy though. Don't crush the sale.
I don't do any of the sales, thank God. I do the funny, and that's it. But no, listen, I'm a first timer with all this stuff. This is the first time we've ever been head writers. So is it going to be easier now, where people read "What's Up, Guys" and they're like, oh, these are the guys that did Home Team, that was a hit, so they'll be more open to giving us money to make the new one? I have no idea, man. I've never been here.
As
I
far
hope so.
as far as kind of being here, I'm definitely excited, to continue to share Home Team, and I think it's still, I think it was number 7. I just checked on Netflix. I mean, was that a different process kind of with Netflix or, I mean, it's such a different world. Like, I don't know about you. You said you worked for Blockbuster, but I remember when Blockbuster was going to try to be Netflix.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they did the whole kind of mail-in thing, and it didn't work so well
Oh,
after Netflix. It was, um, oh, I actually, sorry, I do have one last question for
oh,
you.
hit me.
So, how long? Well, this is a two-parter. How long did you work at Blockbuster then?
I think a summer.
Okay, maybe this is long enough. Did you have your Blockbuster picks for movies out?
I don't think so.
Ah, so you didn't
What do you
quite.
mean, like the staff picks when you walk
Yes,
in? That
staff
thing?
picks.
Man, I might have. I don't remember. I'm sure it was something like Pulp Fiction.
Ah, great one, great one. Although yeah, I guess I worked in the movie theater when Pulp Fiction was out in the theater, so that's how old I
Oh,
am. So,
nice. Very nice.
well, thanks again. I definitely appreciate it. Where can everyone find you again?
Thanks for having me. Instagram, I'm Christopher Titone. What am I on TikTok? I don't know. Let's look.
I'm gonna have to get on TikTok now.
Oh, I'm Christopher Titone, Titone, on Instagram and TikTok.
And you're giving out fantasy football advice as well.
Oh my God, no! I've played 6 years and I only won once, and I'm in two separate leagues, so I'm 1 for 12. So you don't want you don't want advice from me.
What platforms do you use?
So I use good old fashioned ESPN,
Hmm.
and then my buddy started a pick'em league.
Mm.
It's great. Do you know what a pick'em league is?
Oh yeah.
$40,
Mm.
and you just all you have to do is pick a winner every week. Pick a winner, but you can never pick that team again. So it's
Hmm.
very easy and it's not time consuming at all. You just pick, whatever. But like I think like 70 people are in it. So
Wow.
if you win, you got a chunk. You get a few grand. And that's what I won one year. I won the pick'em league.
So is that your favorite then?
Yeah, it's just so easy. I mean,
Yeah.
listen, fantasy football is like anything else. If you put time into it, you're going to be better. And I don't
Hmm.
have time to put. I have time to put into it a little bit, but like not as much as some people where it's like their whole life. So the pick'em league is pretty simple. Yeah, I won one year, and I was in a tie with another guy. We were the only two left out of like 65, 70 people, and I was like, "What's his number, man?" To the guy that runs it, and I called him up. I'm like, "Do you want to split it right now?" And he was like, "Yeah, let's split it." We split it.
Nice, nice. Well, thanks again, and definitely we'll catch you on all those platforms. And everyone, definitely go out and watch Home Team. And I look forward to what's coming next for you as well. Thanks again, Chris.
Thank you, man. NFL outdated, baby.